Hi everyone, it's Evangeline here at eTrailer, and today we'll be taking a look at our Swagman Chinook 2-bike platform rack right here on our 2018 Chrysler Pacifica. So the Swagman Chinook is the bike rack you go to if you want something compact, something lightweight, but also versatile. It has a little bit more weight capacity than your other compact platform racks. If you have an 1.25 inch hitch on your Chrysler Pacifica, I always recommend a 2-inch, but sometimes you have no choice, then this could be a really good option for you, but it also works on those 2-inch hitches. So we'll talk about those different features, those different specs, but we'll focus on how it works with our car here. That way you can make the best decision for what works best for you, your different types of bikes, and your vehicle. The first thing we'll take a look at is the tilt away feature. So we're going to have this big lever right over here towards our vehicle. You're going to want to pull that lever and then let it drop down to a tilt. Now, the hitch on our Chrysler Pacifica is pretty close to the inside of our vehicle. So because of that, it's hard to find a fit for that tilt away feature. But the good news is, this is a fit. Now, it came real close, but it made it. If you have larger pedals though, that could be an issue for you. I'm really glad to see that it made it with our handlebars here, with them being so long. So it's nice to see that you are able to access your hatch. You're able to grab your helmets, your bags, your waters without having to take your bike off. And once you've grabbed what you needed, that door closes, you push this up, and you don't have to work any levers or anything. It catches automatically. So with that in place, let's talk about what types of bikes can you carry with this bike rack. This has a 45-pound weight capacity, which is a little bit more than your regular ones that stick to 35 pounds. If you have your slightly heavier bikes, I know my women's bike is on the heavy side, but it works with this rack. The way this holds down your bike though is we have 1, 2, 3 touch points. 2 of them are going to be your straps. These are actually doing most of the work. They're really holding down that weight of your bike. But you also have this frame stabilizer or your frame mount. Now you don't need to tighten this down all the way or too much. You need it just a little bit, just enough to keep your bike upright. The straps are going to do most of the work. But when you're ready to take your bike off, you're going to start by the straps. You press this lever. You pull up on the straps, you just let that drop down to the side, which is very convenient because then it doesn't get caught up in your spokes. One lever, here's the second strap, and then we're going to go over to our bike. And I like to do is, let's see how much clearance we have here. You press this button, then we release we release the mount. So you could tilt your bike back towards the vehicle and get this over that mount, or you could do something else, which is I pull on this mast and then I push it down. There we go. So once you have it pushed down to the side, which would be easier if we have our hooks off. Let's do that. There we go. One hook off, second hook off. Now we can push this down to the side. Then we can grab our bike and go for a bike ride. So it's different depending on your different types of bikes and how they work with your vehicle. That's pretty much the point of this video, just to show you the best way you can make this your own. So we have these 2 hooks here. I'm going to put them back real quick, and that way I can show you how they work. All right, this goes up, and then this goes down. So look at our hooks here. Notice how we have a lock on them. So once you have it engaged on your bike's frame, you can actually lock that button there. And that way, no one can press that button. This helps secure your bikes, and then that way they won't go towards the wheels to try to get them off of your rack. Now, speaking of the rack here, with our bike off, we get to take a closer look at it. Let's start at our cradles. So we have these cradles that can be adjusted back and forth depending on your different wheelbases. They have this groove in them for those different tire widths with a maximum tire width of 3 inches. There's that strap that goes around them, and you also have that stabilizer on top of the strap just to help cushion it on your wheel, but also to give it that extra grip. My recommendation is please put those straps away in those cradles like that. That way they're not flopping around as you drive around. You also have this mast up here. Can be kind of tricky to use, but you pull up on that button, then you have to bring it all the way up before you can push it down. Something to keep in mind so you don't struggle with taking your bike off. Let's take some measurements. This is a very compact 2-bike platform rack. So measuring from our bumper to the end of the rack, which is going to be right over here, it sits at about 21.5 inches. So really minimizes the space that takes up behind your vehicle. You can store this easily inside your garage. You could even put it inside of your trunk if you have it folded up. I'll show you how to do that in a bit. Since you do have a larger vehicle, it's nice to know this doesn't take up as much of a footprint. Now, taking measurements underneath our rack, this is going to be ground clearance. So measuring from the end of the rack, it's 16.5 inches. And then measuring where that shank is, it's 10 inches. So you do have this shank rise, which is helpful for those accessories that sit farther away from your vehicle. Because what's going to happen is when you go up those steep inclines, like those really steep driveways and steep hills, your front goes up, your back goes down. Since this is so compact, it's not going to be that big of an issue. But you do have your bike sitting higher up off the ground, which is great, but also it's not too high where it's a struggle to lift those heavier bikes up on there. Now I said we're going to take a look at another feature, and that's going to be the compact or portable position. Remember that lever we pulled earlier? Well, pull that again, but this time lift up on the rack. And it looks like it comes close, but we definitely have clearance here. In fact, my hand can just about fit right in there. We have around a little over ½ an inch of clearance between where it folds up and our bumper. With it in this position, it takes up even less space than it did earlier, which is from the bumper to the end of the rack, 12 inches, so 1 foot. This is the position you'll also have it in when you're storing it in your garage or even inside of your car. Living with this bike rack behind you too, notice how obviously your rear window is visible, your taillights are visible, even your license plate and your backup camera is visible. The one thing you can't do with it folded up though is open up the hatch. So in my personal recommendation, just leave it down in the down position. It doesn't take up much space, and then you can open up your hatch whenever you want. That's a cool option for the Swagman Chinook for you. Let's talk about how this fits into our hitch. We have an 1.25 inch shank with an included 2-inch hitch receiver. So whether you have the 1.25 inch hitch receiver or the 2-inch hitch receiver on your Chrysler Pacifica, this is going to be a fit. This fits right into there. This uses a tool to tighten down. That's going to be a 3/4 inch socket. I use a ratchet wrench, easier that way. We have that available here at eTrailer as well. You have keys. So those keys are key to like. This is going to be the key for the lock as well as the locks on those frame mounts we talked about earlier. You're going to want to tighten down the anti-rattle bolt well though. Why? Well, as you're riding around, you're going to hit bumps on the road and you're going to have some movement just like that. And as you can see here, our bike rack, our vehicle moved with the bike rack, showing that that connection there is nice and secure, making for a relatively smoother ride for your bikes overall. So my personal thoughts about the Swagman Chinook is, if you have an 1.25 inch hitch on your Chrysler Pacifica, this is probably going to be one of the best options for you, especially when it comes to weight capacity. Some other bike racks that have the same kind of purpose is going to be the Hollywood Racks Destination, as well as the Let's Go Aero Neo. Those have different pros, different cons. You can check out those videos. But this is probably going to be the sturdiest bike rack in the affordable, lightweight, compact category. So you can see here, if you and your friend want to go out for a ride and you're taking your Pacifica, you can use this. It's a pretty good pairing for that. So this right here was a look at the Swagman Chinook 2-bike platform rack on our 2018 Chrysler Pacifica.
Here it is on our test course. We'll start by going through the slalom. This is going to show us the side-to-side action, which simulates turning corners or evasive maneuvers. Next, we're at the alternating speed bumps, which we'll see the twisting action. This will simulate hitting a curb or pothole or driving over uneven pavement. And finally, we have the full speed bumps, where we'll see the up and down action, which is just like driving out of a parking lot, garage, or driveway.